just felt awkward. And I think when you're put in a position where you're almost like backed into a corner, you're like, how do I answer this question? Like,
as they feel protected, now you are exposed.
Like, but I chose to do this, and I love what I do as my like religious practice. Like, why do you feel sorry for me?
Listen, I don't know many black architects, but who cannot tell you that you're gonna be the next black architect?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the 1 to 100 Architecture Podcast, where we delve into everything architecture and design related. And I am here with Cindy, Naomi, Bethany, and Mandy. And today we're going to talk about microaggressions and how to deal with them. So just to like go straight into it, it's always best to define the term. So microaggressions is defined as the everyday subtle intentional and oftentimes unintentional interactions or behaviors that communicate some sort of bias towards historically marginalized groups. So they can be verbal, behavioral, or like even environmental. So with like, let's say with verbal, it's like mispronouncing like someone's name, and just or saying it like, oh, it's just too difficult to say. And then behavioral is like basically treating someone differently just because, I don't know, let's say you've not been around like a certain race, so you act a different way towards them. Environmental could be like, so excluding people of color from like executive positions, or not offering accessible facilities, or like into like buildings, like, you know, with like disabled facilities, or even I could say with my situation at work, we don't have a prayer room, we only have like a wellness room, and the wellness room is very small. And it's like literally, and also like Muslims have to pray like in a certain direction, and there's literally like a bed and there's a door, and then there's like a bunch of like a shelving cabinet, and like thankfully the prayer direction was towards the door. If it was anywhere else, like I wouldn't have been able to pray there. And it was the fact that like I can't just say like, oh, it's because I don't know, let's say like I'm probably like one of the only Muslims in the practice. Like they should be aware of that, like especially as an, like, you know, like as an architecture practice, you should kind of like need to know. I would have to say like, as in you're designing for certain groups out there, and for like in different environments. So it's important for you to be aware, even within your own practice, your own biases and your own like the design of your own space. But yeah, like with my first question, are there any like microaggressions that you guys have faced? It could be even like outside the workplace, or like or inside. So anyone? I think Mandy.
Yeah. Now I remember when, I'm not going to throw any names. But when I was working somewhere, I was the only black person in my workplace, as you do, you know, minority and all of that. But so the guy was like, he was talking to me. So he was like my senior at work, right? And he was talking to me, but he was like, you know, when they're not looking at you, they're looking up. Yeah. So like I was thinking, like, do I have something on my head? Like, well, I don't know. Do my eyebrows look funny? Like, what is it that this guy is looking at? And then he just stopped in the middle of the conversation. He was like, how did you do that? And I was like, do what? He was like your hair like that. How did you do that? I was like, are we not talking about the project? Like, why does my hair come into this? I don't understand. Does it look messy? Like, I'm just so confused. And he was just like, no, it's because like, I'm just really intrigued when I see people do that. And I'm just like, so you've seen it before. You know, I'm wearing braids. Why are you asking me? Why didn't you ask every other person you saw wearing braids the same question? Like, you obviously developed a certain level of comfortability, non-professional comfortability with me, that you feel like you can ask me these kind of questions. You know, I don't ask you where you go to get your hair cut. I don't ask you why you have blue eyes. I don't ask you why you decide to wear a shirt on some days and not a shirt on other days. So what makes you think you can comment on the way my hair is? You know, or, you know, if I decided not to wash my hair that day, why, you know, what makes you think you can ask me that kind of question? I think it's that kind of like it's a level of ignorance, and I think it is, you know, I think there's a difference between being curious and being rude. You know, I think the way he did it was a little bit intrusive. It was in a room full of people. It was in like a quite an intimate space, and I just felt awkward. And I think when you're put in a position where you're almost like backed into a corner, you're like, how do I answer this question? Like, you know, I know how I did my hair. Everybody in my community knows how I did my hair, but nobody in the environment I'm in knows why I did my hair like this. You're questioning things about yourself. And I think that's when it becomes a microaggression, is when the aggressor literally puts you into a position where you almost forget, like, I don't know how to explain it, like you just feel so uncomfortable.
I think it's more like the fine line, isn't it?
There is a fine line. Like, I think if he, you know, for whatever reason, pulled me to the side and said, I really love your hair, like, can you, I know, like, this might be a bit, I don't know, of a strange question, but how did you do it? I would have happily pulled him to, like, I would have said, it's quite a regular thing in my community, like quite a few people do their braids. I don't know where it originates from. I don't know why it happens, but I can tell you my own experience of like wearing braids and wearing protective hairstyles, and I would have gone through what I know. But I think it was the fact that, like, it wasn't in an intimate setting, and it felt as though I was being targeted for, like, not just being the only black girl in my workplace, but being the only person with braids. You know, so it was an interesting experience. I wouldn't, you know, if you need to ask questions about somebody and, you know, something about someone, you should do it in a way that is respectful to them, you know, regardless of whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever. Like, if you don't know something about someone, respect the fact that you don't know it, and they may not want to answer it either. So no,
it's true, because it's like, as in, it's kind of like, it's like a sort of like micro insult. Like, you can't, it's like you're sitting there thinking, like, is he being like, is he being rude, or is he genuinely curious? But it's like, and the fact that you have to be put into that position is like so unfortunate, because it's almost like now the spotlight's on you, and really, like, people then pay more attention to the way you respond to what he said, rather than the way that he's like come across towards you.
And I think in a lot of those situations, actually, you find that, like, nobody says anything. Like, I think, like, you find yourself defending yourself a lot, but no one really says anything in the room either, because as much as it's awkward for you, it's awkward for everyone else in the room too. I think that's what, like, enhances the fact that it is a microaggression, that just no one knows how to respond to what it is that you've asked, because you know it's kind of out of place. So
I think it's a thing of time and a place, and I feel like in your case, and a lot of cases, it's always the wrong time and the wrong place and the wrong way. You know, it's not, the question is not, like, if somebody asks me why I wear wigs, or why I got my wig, or is it real hair? Like, it's not a question, it's how you ask it, where you ask it. And, you know, because, like, some people, like, as you say, is in an intimate space, and there's other people, especially, I would say, let's say white people, they ask that, I would say, not to make an excuse, but they ask that because they're in a space where there's other people, and they probably you know, some people are curious, but they find it uncomfortable to ask you just by themselves, so they feel protected by having other people there.
That's true,
but don't understand that as they feel protected, now you are exposed.
You're unprotected.
You're not protected because you're exposed, and you feel like you have, like, four different people that have a very similar culture and similar way of seeing what braids is to you, and there's probably the completely opposite of what you know what it is, and now you're like, why do you have to ask me now? Why do I have to respond to it now? Why is it? And especially if you're in a position of where you're talking about work. So you're talking about work, like, why do you need to know how the hell I do my braids where I work?
It's just inappropriate.
If you're like after work and like having drinks and it's like, I wonder like, how do you do your work? Like, I've served, it's nice. I just your hair. I want to know how you do it. That's different. You're in a comfortable, and it's not at work. You're not at work. I don't think how you do your work, your hair, has nothing to do with. It shouldn't be a conversation to be had in a work premises. And in terms of like microaggression, I think people need to just stop immediately, like immediately, just stop, but I'm not even talking about people doing it, because there's going to be a lot of ignorant people or people, and ignorant does not mean in a negative way. So if you don't know something, you're an ignorant. If you want to get to know something, there are going to be people that are going to ask questions, but if you feel uncomfortable, people need to start speaking up, because there's no point of you not saying nothing, smart through it, then come and say, oh my God, do you know I went to work? No, you stop them immediately. Immediately. Like when I used to be younger, this is obviously not architecture based, but when I lived in Italy, Italians pronounce C, chi, and people used to call me Chindi. That is not my name. Because if I say, Giovanni comes to the UK, you're not going to call him John, because that's the English version. His name is Giovanni. So and they'll be like, because that's how we say it. It's not an excuse. When you feel uncomfortable, when somebody mispronounce your name, that is one thing I cannot stand. Because when it comes to spelling big other names, they have the vim. It's not about not even the people don't make an effort. People just say, I just can't do it, so I get on with it. Do you understand what I mean? People need to address things straight away. Do not wait, because if you wait, they're gonna go on to the next person to do that, and it's a cycle. Somebody does, when you feel like somebody's made a comment that makes you uncomfortable, a comment that questions your culture, a comment that makes you feel some type of way, you need to just shut it down quickly, in the most respectful manner. But respectfully, no. Respectfully, don't do that again. And like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, because people, like, I feel like a lot of just minorities feel like they can't speak up about things that bothers them, because they feel like we have been labeled as the problematic people that always have something to say about. But
we just have to swallow everything.
But you know what? I take it. I am problematic. Let's get the problems out. My problem is that you're not saying my name properly.
My problem is you.
My problem, my problem is that this and this and that. So it's fine. I don't mind being labeled as a problematic, or when they label you the angry black woman, whatever. If you have an issue, I will say it, and that's just that. I will say it, and when I say it, then it becomes your problem, because I've said it. If you want to be disrespectful,
how you choose to react to it,
that's your problem. It's not your problem saying it that it bothers you. So I feel like, in general, if you get a microaggression, just shut it down. It doesn't matter if it's your colleague. It doesn't matter if it's your boss. What matters is how you say it. Obviously respectfully, but you can definitely say, because people sometimes are very ignorant on what how they're acting it, and what your reaction might be. So that's how start.
Well, I mean, you kind of like answered my second question, which was literally like, how do you overcome the fear of like appearing as the aggressor? And I think like you know that you would shut it down. With others, I think, especially when you don't feel protected, you kind of go back into the shadows, in the sense of you don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings, or you're scared that your like job will be on the line if you speak differently, which is like all. But at the end of the day, like, your identity is really important to you, and I think you should hold that close, because jobs come and go, people come and go, but what stays there is you. And if you don't hold true to that, like, and no one's going to take you seriously or appreciate that side of you. So what are you? Just a vessel in like a building.
Especially with like microaggressions, it's like the way it makes someone feel is like you're abnormal. Which is not correct. Like, just because you come from a different faith or from a different culture, from a different country, whatever it is, just because you're different, like you shouldn't be made to feel like who you are is strange, because then you're questioning yourself and like your whole DNA and everything about yourself. And that's, for people who don't understand, that's how it feels. It's like you're questioning absolutely everything about yourself, and even like your family. Even it's just like, yeah, why is my hair this texture?
Yeah.
Why do I feel the need to change my hair? I'm not gonna lie, every time I've had like a microaggression, usually it's to do with my hair and the way I wear it. And that's a conversation in itself. But like, I think that's the main problem. If they mispronounce your name because it sounds different or something like that, it's just like it sounds weird to you, but like where I'm from is normal. So you shouldn't be asking. It's the tone and the way you do it. If you're genuine, but I feel like most people will be able to tell if someone's really not doing it out of spite or malice. Do you know what I mean? And normally we don't have a problem like addressing or saying something like that. We might even joke around with it, but at the same time, like, just watch yourself.
Have you guys ever been like in a situation where
Naomi's coming for
you? Watch yourself.
Listen, if you're not sure, don't say anything.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where, like, say for example, okay, you're one of few like minority ethnicities in your workplace, and someone starts to tell you about their other.
Don't ever start a sentence.
I've got another Moroccan friend. I do.
I know someone from Morocco.
I absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
So, you know like my neighbour, like my neighbour from Nigeria. Yeah.
Oh my god, I
I'm
had
not
like
even
moments
Nigerian.
back at uni. Literally, like, someone was like, "Oh, you're the first Muslim I met. Are you from Pakistan?"
Oh my god, that's not even funny. That's not even funny.
You just look. You just have to laugh, because why?
You don't laugh, you cry.
Has anyone
It's like,
Thing is, with me, I just laugh because I'm just like, how can
It's
you like
so-
literally?
What's
It's
wrong
my
with
way
you?
of dealing with it, but I'm just like, how
Yeah.
can you like literally? How can you make those two connections like that? I mean, just because maybe the majority of Muslims in the UK are from a Pakistani background.
Not even.
Maybe, I don't know. Is it?
No, you're giving them too much credit.
No.
No, you're giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
It
No,
depends what
I'm
region
saying
you're
as in
from.
like, as in
Yeah.
I'm saying even if it was
Yeah.
like, it's not like, that's not a good enough excuse for you to be like, oh yeah, but like that's those are the only people I've been around. And it's almost like a lot of people that like have this sort of ignorance, they categorize people. So if you're black, you're like this. If you're Muslim, you're like this. You're like that. They don't seem like, it's almost like everyone's in their own little box, and you're not anywhere out of that, which is so messed up. And I did like, as in, I think one of the ways I did have a look, I was curious, is like, how can you respond to these kind of things? Because it's very complex.
It is complex, yeah.
It's a really complicated moment, and it's like one of those moments where you have to like think on your feet in terms of like, how do you respond, like what's the right way. And I just want to see if you guys sort of agree with like these. I found this online. I just want to know if you guys can agree, like even you guys out there, comment if you agree with some of them. We want some debates out there. So one of them is like, restate or paraphrase. So saying, I think I heard you saying, is that
No.
correct?
No.
I know I heard you say.
Exactly.
Because then you're already...
You're accepting it.
It's not even acceptance. You're already trying to accommodate for how
Yeah.
they
Exactly.
feel.
You're giving
You
them
can
a
say it
reason to
politely,
lie.
but you don't have to be like, I think. Just be like, you said this, and then
They're
this
helping-
is how I
you're
felt.
helping
This
them
is
gaslight
why
you.
you don't trust
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, literally.
You're helping them
That's
gaslight
so
you.
good.
problems.
Did I hear you say
Next.
No.
So that's a no.
Okay.
Sorry.
Express your feelings. So basically saying, when you did whatever comment or behavior, I felt this kind of way, and I would like you to
Stop.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah.
I think that's the most direct and the most...
Yeah.
That's the
Clearly.
most like,
I think it depends on your personality. To be honest, that's probably how I'd approach it. I don't feel the
Yeah.
need to embarrass someone else just because I feel embarrassed. I would just say, can we like have this conversation like another time? I'll call them to the side
Yeah.
after we're out of the situation. Be like, look, I'm not gonna lie, you made me feel really uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and if you want to know more about me, talk to me on an intimate level. Let's go and have lunch together. Do you know what I mean? Like, ask me questions then, but when we're working, let's talk about work. And if you want to get to know me, you can get to know me outside of work. Like if that's really what you want, I don't think you do. Like you want to know more about my hair because you're just being a bit intrusive right now. But if you actually wanted to get to know me on a more personal level, then I'll be happy to share outside of work, but not in the working environment.
Very well said.
Catch her outside.
Catch me outside.
Catch her outside.
By the reception. Let me see. Pretend you don't understand.
No, that is never the answer.
That's quite funny.
No, but I kind of like that.
That's like a quick exit. Like
I think that's kind of funny because you make them feel stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like,
what do you mean?
if they say your name wrong, it's like, who are you talking to? That's not me.
I think,
I think
what was the example?
The natural expression of you just like.
One was like, why is that funny? Like, like pretending or like, I don't get it. Like basically trying to make,
I like that,
making them like elaborate.
It's petty, but
it's petty.
It's very
But the thing is, they deserve it at the end of the day.
It's
Like,
petty.
do you know what I mean?
But I'm here for it.
I feel like these different answers might be for different
Scenarios.
Yeah.
Like you
And
could do that
how
with someone you're
they
close to.
deliver it. Yeah.
Not close to, but like
I feel like it's petty, but it's not to the
you're
point.
never gonna
Yeah.
say.
And when it comes to these things, like,
Maybe not at work.
you know, like you can be
Yeah.
petty. Like say you can be petty. Say Bismarck. I'll give you an example. Yeah, you come and I meet your friend, and your friend asks me a question. You know, and I feel like, oh my god, this is a bit of a microaggression. I can be petty with your friend because it's like a familiar. But if it's like my boss, I'm gonna tell you straight up, like I don't like that. I don't like that. But I would say, I'll be like, well, if it's your friend or somebody that is like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like with a place, depends on
more informal.
Yeah, more formal. You need to make it
Clear.
Especially if you're around people.
Especially when you're around people, because the worst thing that can happen is somebody being in the room at work and making your hair a topic of conversation. That, or making anything like, or you're saying you praying a topic of conversation in a workplace where it's not needed.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But like if it's someone more familiar, like we're in a group of friends, like group of friends, and even between friends which have different cultures, sometimes you do get people make ignorant comments. That in that instant, I would be more. My approach would be more like a petty approach. Like, what did you say? Or did I?
Yeah, like because you're in a more safe space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in a formal, if it's your work,
And it could also be kind of problematic or dangerous because then they could.
You're labeled.
That's it. You could now be labeled because you're giving attitude, or depending on the way that you've responded in a kind of like, because you've not been clear in saying that I do not like this, especially if you're in a work environment. And now it's kind of like, oh, now you're kind of giving attitude and like being,
and then you feel marginalised.
And then they could weaponize that and use it against you. They're saying like, look,
Yeah, 'cause
every
like,
time we comment on say something like you have this kind of energy, it's like, well,
they won't trust you to complete like certain tasks that would involve like that's just so much.
it's just a problem. It's best to leave it.
So how do you approach it then?
I think as like Cindy was
set your
saying,
boundaries.
you like there's a time and place. I think if you're in a moment and you're with like loads of people, I think sometimes it's quite difficult because at the same time you kind of want to like, you want to get the message across, not to that person, but to the people around them, like to know, for them to, for also them to be aware of you feeling uncomfortable, so then they can also take a mental note and be like, you know what, I won't do that, because I just like I won't address it in that way. But it's kind of like, I think in a friendship setting it's probably you could do that. In a work setting I think it would help to pull that person aside. I think it's not up to you to like make everyone else know how to deal with a situation. I think once it happens you address it. Maybe pulling them aside at another time. I think in that moment it's almost like it's like temporarily taking it on the chin, let's say, at that moment. Like, you're not taking it on the chin, but you're gonna take it off the chin, basically.
I also think, though, like,
Maybe,
to be honest, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think everyone in your practice also has a social responsibility.
Yeah.
If you see something that seems out of place and you can see someone feels uncomfortable, you should definitely say something. Like, if for example, again, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but there was a girl who I was working with who was fasting, and at that time, you know, it was end of the month, some people wanted to go for drinks. He said, oh, why don't you come for drinks? I said, she's fasting. Like, she's fasting. What do you mean? And she doesn't drink. So, you know, in order, like, to firstly even ask her the question, when you know she's fasting, you know, you don't go and offer her like something to eat. You don't go and ask her, do you want something from like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just being courteous and being aware and being present. And, you know, like, it's not something like, microaggressions are not just things you just forget, or it's just like a passing comment kind of thing. Like, if you know, if you made a mistake about something, because we do all make mistakes, like, you say something that's probably a bit like, oh, God, I shouldn't have said that, like, oh, I completely forgot, and you correct yourself. Like, you say, I shouldn't have said that, but also everyone around you can hear and see how that person feels in that moment in time. And I think if you can see, and if they're not, you know, confident enough to stand up for themselves, you should stand up for them, you know, because I think we've all been in a position where we feel like, you know, taken back a bit, and the response is not always immediate. Like, you know what I mean? You're not always going to think, sometimes you think, how do I respond to that? Am I thinking or acting out of place? You know, but I think if someone else can see it too, then you're not thinking or acting out of place. Actually, your response is correct, you know. So
because I think, like, for instance, like, what I get a lot, especially during Ramadan, is like, oh, I feel sorry for you. And it's like, but I chose to do this and I love what I do as my, like, religious practice. Like, why do you feel sorry for me? Like, what, is it oppressive to me? Like, you get all these questions in your head, and you can easily get riled up and think, oh, like, they think I'm like this oppressed, like, Muslim, that, you know, that Muslims are like sort of portrayed in the media. And my response was, why do you feel sorry for me? Like, no, I chose to do this. I'm happy to do this. And, like, you know, this is like, one of my responses, my go-to one is like, this is the best time of year for us Muslims.
Yeah,
because,
that's good.
and in that response, you make that clear that they're wrong. Like, rather than me being silent and then them going home thinking, yeah, poor Besma. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want, it's also my responsibility to make it know. I take it as my responsibility for others to know that I love my faith, you know? Like, I see myself as like a representative of who I am. And the same with every other race or every other religion. So, yeah, I mean, like, we'll just move on to the next segment, which is, so recently I asked you guys, you know, 1 to 100 viewers, on sharing your sort of stories, and we obviously, like, they're anonymous. We don't know who they are, so that's kept safe. So I'm going to read out one for now, and so I'll just read it now. So I'm a 24-year-old female working in property project management. I'm understandably young, but I think I'm good at my job. I've done my part 1. Last week, I had a call scheduled with a female lawyer who I estimate to be in her late 50s. Before the call, my boss says to me, "Oh, you know, she doesn't like you. Hope the call goes well." I'm shocked, and I ask, "What? Why didn't she like me?" And he says, because you're young, she feels that you're not qualified for the job and you don't know what you're doing. Ever since, I've realized she's been treating me like my boss's PA. She leaves messages for him on my voicemail. She sends me emails asking about his schedule. How do I handle this? Yeah, so that's one.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all,
That was heavy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
go
really
through
heavy.
that.
I had a flashback.
Okay, so first and foremost, she's being ageist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna
That's
say
just
that,
mainly what it
discrimination.
is, really.
Yeah.
It's not even like a microaggression thing. This is just just being
Yeah.
ageist. Like, and I just think, first of all, she shouldn't take it to heart. You know, she's in a position where she's at for a reason, and she has the degree, she has the talent to be there. So she shouldn't let how she feels affect how she's doing her work, because at the end of the day, people like that are just sad people, really. I would just say sad person who thinks in order for someone to have respect in a place of work, they have to have 25 years of experience. No, you don't have to have the 25 years of experience. You're there to learn. They also did the same process, and if everyone thought the way she did, then she wouldn't have been where she is. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone starts from a place where they're gonna be in a trainee. They're gonna be in practice, where they're gonna be the new person, the person that does mistakes, the person that's always asking 200 questions. But it's a process. Everyone goes through the process. So do not let your process be stopped or delayed or slowed down by someone that is already up there, that wouldn't has probably forgotten what it feels like being in a new job at 24 years, trying to make it, trying to start up your career. So I would just say to the viewer, don't listen to her. Do your thing. And to your boss,
Boss is not doing his job, or
he's not doing his job. He should be reassuring you and telling you,
And
listen,
reassuring that woman.
and
yeah, telling the woman, putting her in her place in a respectful way, like, hey, no, I hired this woman, and she's good at what she does, and you know, like, directly message her, not me. She's not a PA. Like,
absolutely,
that's his job. You know.
But at the end of the day, you know what? Some people are just so hard to change. Me, I wouldn't even care if my boss sent her them email or not. I would want my boss to say, listen, I trust you. I know what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, she's not even working for her.
Exactly.
She's working for the boss. So the boss needs to be like, listen, telling her, oh, she doesn't like you, good luck. What does that do for her? What does that? It's knocking her confidence down. Idiot. Anyway, what you should do, believe in yourself. You're in a position for a reason. You're doing well. Don't let any Karen come and stop your progress. Yeah, so just keep doing you, and your boss should do better.
And also forward your boss her emails.
If
she's
asking,
just don't even reply. Just send them straight to him. If she's asking like, when's his schedule, when's this, just forward them to him. It's like, look, this is your email reply.
Yeah, CC as per my previous email. So you can see all the whole thread.
Oh yeah, somebody's looking for you, please. Somebody's looking for you.
Yeah.
But seriously, this woman sounds like she sounds very familiar. Like, she sounds inflexible in her role. She sounds like she's been there for a very long time, and she's
like a Billy.
She's from the generation where you need to work hard, and there's no working smart, you just work hard. And I think when the fact that she can see you're very successful, you're clearly very successful in where you are. She probably would have never been in that position at your age, and now she's in a position. She's in a position where she doesn't want to be, and she can see where you are, where you want to be, and you're happy. And I think there's definitely a sense of jealousy there. There is a microaggression, not even micro, just a pure aggression.
That's just aggression.
That's just aggression.
There's no micro, there's
I'm pretty sure. Isn't there, like, if it got to it, legally she shouldn't be doing that?
No, she
shouldn't.
shouldn't.
Equality
It's not in her
Act,
job. It's not in her
That's
job
age
description.
discrimination against.
To be
and you should,
moved
you
like
should definitely take it to a senior level. Like, if you think that this, and you know, it's not being unprofessional because she's being unprofessional. Like, by making you feel out of place because of the role you're in. If she feels that you can't do the job properly, that's different. But if she's, you know,
she said she doesn't like you because you're young,
right? And liking you has nothing to do with the job role, so that's out of her job description. Number one. Number two, you take it to senior level. If you have a senior level anyway, you should definitely take it to senior level.
She just mad because she's old.
No, but like, it happens, like in a lot of different job roles, especially when there's career progression and people have been working there for 20 plus years. They find themselves, like, you know, sort of I don't know how to
Like they're
explain it.
I know what you
like-
mean. The word's
like,
not coming to me.
Yeah, they find themselves almost
stagnant.
not
No,
stagnant,
threatened almost
threatened,
by them potentially getting to their role, or
not
just
even
impossible
that.
to
Like
anything.
they feel like they own their role. Like they are the only person that can do their role to the extent that they've done it, because they have been there for so long. They're not open to change. They're not open to flexibility, because the way they do it is the best way it could possibly done. And when you get to that point, there's no
her
wiggle room
problem.
for
That's
anyone
it.
else.
That's it.
So
Her problem.
yeah,
She should keep that to herself.
it's,
You know, she shouldn't come
especially in a professional
professional-
environment.
like, do you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot, all of us work with people that we might like and might not like.
Yeah.
All right? And for different reasons, even reasons where sometimes you think, you know, in yourself, it's like, that's no valid reason not to like that person, but you just don't like them.
Yeah.
It's not because of that. Now, when I'm writing an email, it's like, I don't, well,
yeah.
do this,
Regards.
do that,
Um,
regardless.
You
You
don't even remove the
you
kind.
keep it professional. You keep
Yeah.
it professional. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, she's in a position, whether you like it or you're not, whether she got there faster than you or not.
Yeah.
We are all there. At the end, it's like getting a degree. At the end of it, no one is going to ask you how long it took you to get a degree. You just have it.
Yeah, but yeah, to be honest, it's true. And I just hope that doesn't happen with our generation, that like, you know, you see, because it will happen. The generation after us are going to be richer than us, guaranteed. And I hope that, like, you know, by that point, we won't find people in our generation bitter and jealous of that generation because of what they have managed to achieve with the knowledge that they have acquired because of their experience. Do you know what I mean? Because that is what this woman has done. So I feel like learning how to network and connect with people who are not your age group is such a valuable skill. You know, it's not, you don't need to connect with people who are your age. Like, you need to connect with people who are like-minded to you. And this woman is not, you
Like,
know.
I had, like, from reading this, like, I had, like, I remembered a situation that I had in retail once.
Yeah.
Where one customer was, like, so rude to me. And I was just like, you know what? If you're not happy with me serving you, I will no longer serve you because you are being disrespectful towards me. Like, that should be translated in different other like in other like places. Like, if you're not happy with me, then go find someone else to work with. Like, because I'm not gonna allow that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially in a professional environment. Like, I'm beyond that. And when you make that clear, then no one would even dare to try to, like, cross that boundary with you.
It's hard, especially when you're young professional working. Like, you know, you're gonna have to try and prove yourself, because a lot of people are gonna be like, you're fresh to this, like, you don't really know what you're doing and all these things. So you already know that you're trying to, like, counter, like, you know, some certain people's views of how you are and how you would work, which is a very difficult thing for anyone to do, especially if you're young. But then also, like, I forgot my point.
It'll come back.
I feel like, you know, when you say when you're a young professional, you don't even have to say I'm young. You say I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to mention? We know I'm young. You can see my skin glistening. Like, you know I'm a I'm a professional.
That's what I was also gonna say. I think, like, the whole, like, ages thing is a power play,
Of course it is.
because it's just, like, clearly that regardless of, like, how talented you probably can do the job better. Do you know what I mean? Because of just, like, how you were educated and the way you grow up and, like, your work ethic and all these things. You probably do it 10 times faster even. You'll probably get to her position in, like, no time.
I think that's why they're mad.
And that's why they're angry. So it's just, like, the only thing that they can hold over you is that I've got more experience. I've got more years on this planet. It's like, okay,
well done.
but what are you doing with that?
What's that
So
about?
don't take any. I wouldn't take it to heart, because, like, it's just them feeling threatened at the end of the day, and there's nothing. There's no substance there. Like, you've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
You're good. CC that email.
CC.
Forward.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I'm just sorry for whoever that is to go through that. Like, it's a really difficult position, but hopefully our advice helps you.
Next dilemma.
Next one. Okay. I think I have time for just one more. Okay. So working in architecture as a working class black woman has been so triggering, it literally gives me anxiety. I don't think I'll go back for my part 2. I'm considering a career change into tech. I'm always the only black person, the only woman, and the youngest person at my startup. I'm made to feel as if I should be super grateful I even have this job, and have been told by my boss, do you really think you'll become an architect? What are the odds of that? Architecture isn't designed for the working class. It's all about connections. If you do qualify, you need to have connections in order to be able to get projects, so you'll be a poor architect. How many black female architects do you know? You're better off going into another field. This is what she's been told. Okay, this is another aggression, face. Not even a microaggression.
That's not a microaggression.
So this is like, that segment was literally like what was told to her. Sorry, let's just scroll down. Give me a moment.
Oh my god,
I'm triggered already.
I'm so triggered. Like,
the audacity. He said that to her face.
Listen, I'll be throwing hands, bro. I'll be throwing hands.
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I can't seem to...
These are the times you know you have composure, because I'm like...
Listen,
professionalism.
Once you finish, you find the rest. I just want to say, baby girl, I hear you. Okay, we hear you.
Very loud.
But please do not let any low life tell you what you can or what you can't do. Literally. That is up to you. Listen, in this world, yeah, there are going to be so many things and so many people that are going to try to stop you from getting where you need to get. They're going to tell you ain't going to... Listen, I don't know many black architects, but who cannot tell you that you're going to be the next black architect? You're going to be the next big thing.
Yep.
Listen, don't come in... It's not about who we know and who we don't know. It's about what you want and what you want to be and what you can do. So, babes, if you don't feel supported in that firm, there are... thousands and millions of firms that are encouraging diversity, encourage black women progression, and even if they don't, listen, you just have to close your eyes, close your ears, and just go for it. Because for someone to make you feel like as to your first 3 years that you've worked so hard to achieve your degree and makes you feel like you're not gonna go for the part 2, that is, I feel you, because that's exactly what happened to me. But that's not the point. But I believe in you, and I believe that you're gonna achieve everything you put your mindset to. He's evil. He don't want to see. He's evil.
First and foremost.
I don't even know if I can carry on, because the next bit's just.
No, continue.
Carry on. I'm gonna cut somebody else. Go on.
No, it's still the same person. But when I mentioned I went to a black females in architecture event, he said you need to go to a females in architecture event. That's how you'll progress. What can black females teach you? They're attending this event for the same reason you are. Oh my god, I'm trying to find another job as soon as possible, but not gonna lie, this experience has stripped my confidence.
Who's this guy?
First of all,
honestly, this person needs to be called out. This person needs to be called out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, first of all, you need to tell us who the
is that guy
is, so we don't send no other
message us at 1 to 100
in it.
You literally DM us.
No, we need to expose these people,
because this is concerning. This is concerning. Listen,
that's very problematic. What position is he in? That's very scary.
That's obviously
he's racist. I ain't gonna lie. He's racist. Okay, that is damn racist. It's not even. Don't support black. He's a racist.
If you look like an op,
if you're watching this, you are a racist.
He must be.
But
tell him he's a racist.
I appreciate the person for sharing.
Yeah,
you know what? Writing that must have just been like, even my heart just feels tight. Like, it's just.
I'm clenching my teeth.
But yeah, like Nomi's even grinding because she's not gonna have any teeth by the end of the episode. But
honestly,
but it's just mad. Like, thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure like there's so many people that can definitely relate to how you're, maybe not even to that extent, but like something on the scale of that, and just feel like they're in a position where they can't be moved. And the fact that you do have to feel grateful to be in you don't have to feel grateful. You earned your position because you are a working professional, and if you want to move, you can move. But this guy in his position of leadership should not be in a position of leadership, because he doesn't have any of the skills you need to be in a position of leadership. Like, you need to be compassionate, you need to be supportive, and he's none of those things. And I think if you're running a practice as a director or as a manager, you need to accommodate for the people that work for you. And if he doesn't serve you mentally as well as financially, then you need to go. You need to make a decision for yourself and leave. And if you want to amplify him to like on a larger scale, report him to the ARB, report him to RIBA. He doesn't need to be in that position because he doesn't deserve to be in a position. So that's only that's only if you want to do it. But if you're making a decision for yourself, leave. Like,
she said she was looking for jobs.
I agree with that.
You need to leave. They don't respect you. And whilst you're there, don't listen to them. Don't take anything to heart, because
that's mad.
That's so toxic.
It's like, if you have that attitude, let's say, I don't know if he's like her boss, whatever, but like, if you think that like black women or black people in general have nothing to offer, then why would you even bother to hire?
It was a diversity hire.
It was a diversity.
Like, do you know what I mean?
It's
like, what is this?
Not only that, guys. It's not only that, because what they want to do is to suck the talent out of you, use you. And whilst they're using you, they're taking your confidence away. They're doing this and this. So you get to the point where you finish you're in a contract now. You finish your first year of experience, and now you're not going back. You're not going back because some idiot with no self-respect for himself, first and foremost, because if you have respect for yourself, you wouldn't utter those words. And no respect for themselves to come and stop them from doing things. Listen, and you go to black female events because you are in an environment where you are with women that understand your daily struggles, like-minded, understand the daily struggles that you are going through, to support yourself, to support each other, so that we can make it to that finish line where everyone, all the environments gives us all the odds that we're not going to get there. We support each other to get to that finish line. That finish line does not necessarily mean becoming an architect, doesn't mean necessarily, but that finish line, to me, as the 1 to 100 podcast, I just feel like females in the built environment, whether it's in environments where there's men are the main people that succeed, and it's not only like men. This guy is like white men, then comes the white women, then comes the black man, then comes the black woman. Positions where black females are the last, and the position where black females are seen as not good enough and I'm not gonna get there. That's why you go to this event, so that you have a community and understand that you're not by yourself. You gotta go, and not only you have to go, you gotta report him first and foremost, and you need to not let this.
Don't let this guy get away with it.
Does he seem like a serious candidate?
No,
he's not a serious candidate.
Why would you take advice from that guy?
Why would you let him? Well, of course, I understand. It's hard being a black female in this environment, but.
No. I think do you know what?
You can't let the devil whisper things in your ear.
Listen, I think some guys come across as, not some guys, sorry, some managers and directors come across as like a savior type of thing. That I've seen it like they wouldn't explicitly say you're lucky to be here, but the actions and the way they may place you on certain projects and the conversations that you might have will seem as though you're lucky to be here, kind of thing. Like, you're lucky to be working with us, type of thing. And if if you feel like that, then are you in the right place of work?
No, you're not.
You know.
Also, the fact that what he's trying to say is that there's no room for black people to be in the profession, and I just say, do not listen to that bullshit, honestly, because even if the world says there's no room for you, you make that room for yourself. Because if it is something that you want to do and you truly love and you enjoy, you'll make that space for yourself. You'll insert yourself there. You'll make 100%. Your voice known, and you'll ensure that everyone else who is in that same boat as you is on that same platform. And that's why you go to those events. That's why they exist. Is not only is it for you to feel empowered, but it's also a reminder of your identity and that you don't compromise that essential part of yourself to any profession. You don't water it down. You don't put it in a corner. You don't do any changes to yourself in order for you to be accepted, because you come as you are, and who you are is perfect, and that's all it is.
Basma, sorry, just really quickly off the back of that, I actually remember when I was in undergrad, my tutor told me that I'm not going to be an architect. I'll be something similar who works with people, but I won't be an architect. I was like,
exactly who she's talking about. We ain't gonna say names.
I was like, so like, why have you forecasted my future? I don't even know what it is, but how do you know? Like, you know, he's like, no, not like that, but like, you know, you'll do something similar, but probably not that. I said,
he's the same guy who told our friend, another friend who works in the practice as well, that she would never graduate, and she would never, even when she graduates, she's never gonna get a fixed job.
So
and look how God
what people project onto your future,
yeah, that's what he said.
Do
exactly
not
who you're talking about.
in this industry. Don't be blind to the sight that people will try to project their opinions onto your future. It's very common, but you now need to make a decision. If you haven't before, you now need to make a decision for your career, and you need to say, this is something I want to do, these are my plans, and this is how I'm going to get there. And you're going to find obstacles on the way, like big obstacles in senior positions, and you need to overcome these obstacles in the way that suits you best, by continuing to go to the Black Females in Architecture events because they make you feel safe, by continuing to listen to podcasts that make you feel heard, and by continuing to boost your ego and boost your confidence in a way that helps you to grow as a person. You know, you are supported in like all shapes and forms. Like, please don't base your the future of your life, your career on this one person or one incident. So
most of the times it's not just the one incident.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Please
but still keep the fight.
Yeah.
And send us your portfolio. I'm sure the girls doing masters or part 2, and the girls doing the apprenticeship.
We'll help you.
We will get you a new place.
Yeah.
You know, there are people hiring all the time, and you know, even for me that I don't do architecture anymore, she sends me places hiring every 2 days. Every 2 days. She will send me a LinkedIn.
Good at that though.
She's very professional with it as well. It's not like
she even
she
sent
messages.
me.
I've got the
She's always sending me places that they're hiring. It's just like, I know you're not ready to get back in, but if you are, they are hiring. This is hiring. Like, if you have to leave, because we know that anyone can be successful if they put their all into it, and sometimes you need that little encouragement, and if you don't get it there, you definitely have it here. So DM us. We're gonna try our best to put you in a position where you are going to be in a place where you're appreciated, and you're gonna be successful, and you're gonna cross that line at some point, and forget about pray about it. It's an evil man. Don't listen to it.
It's very evil. It's very evil.
I just want to thank everyone that's sent their stories, and I know it must have been really difficult to share them with us, and we thank you for trusting us to, you know, to like share them with everyone else. And yeah, I just hope things get better for you, for everyone that's going through difficulties right now, facing these issues that are very widespread across all industries. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. And yeah, oh gosh, I forgot how to end it.
Like and subscribe.
Like,
literally today,
subscribe.
it's been such a deep episode. Like, I need to like now go back to like end the episode mode. But yeah, it's a wrap.
Follow us.
It's
Like
a
and
wrap.
subscribe, shout.
Like, oh yeah.
We're in a housing crisis, and the housing crisis says we need to deliver 200,000 homes a year. Yeah, if we're delivering 100,000 for the past since I've been born, yeah, what does that do to your generation, and what does that do to my children's generation?
Developers are ruining the built environment.
You will not find a more ambitious group of human beings.
Architects.